Talk to me about these rituals that we've now combined with sugar. I think it's important to talk about them because I don't think people realize we're in them. Birthday party, here's a bunch of cake and ice cream. Halloween, here's some candy. Campfire, forgot about that one. Marshmallow. I mean, again, these places have inserted themselves into our rituals. Champagne's another one. Celebrate, pop a bottle of champagne. Yeah, another great idea. But talk to me about those and how people can recognize them and then choose if they want to participate in that narrative or not. Because most of the times we don't even get a choice.
Let's first talk about why they do it. Sugar, we have an evolutionary response to sugar, and that is that when we eat some sugar, our body deduces from that we're in the season of autumn and that the next season is food deprivation of winter. So the minute we eat a little bit of sugar, the body goes, oh crap, winter's coming, and it stimulates your appetite. So eating a little bit of sugar makes you hungry. That's why somebody can go to a beautiful restaurant, eat the bread, have the pasta, and still have dessert. Meanwhile, somebody else goes to a steak restaurant, doesn't eat the bread, has a steak and broccoli. They don't order dessert. They're satiated. Carbohydrates stimulate appetite. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying it's a thing. So the food industry has figured that out. And so they are now wanting to put sugar in everything that they can because by adding sugar to it, it stimulates your appetite. So it's a deep manipulation that starts there. So then let's talk about your direct question, and that is how they're doing it. They hijack emotional states and holidays. They've learned how to sponsor certain emotional states, and they've learned how to sponsor certain family rituals, celebrations, and holidays. A really fascinating example of this is Easter. I went to an Anglican school, and so because we had an Anglican school, there was a lot of Bible study in that school. And so there's that one part with the whole crucifixion, and I've read it a few times because we had to for Bible study. And do you know what I never saw in that part of the Bible? Chocolate. I've looked. It's not there. It's not there at all.
No chocolate eggs?
They didn't look for them. They weren't there. But today, you quite literally have people that cannot feel Easter unless they have chocolate. And so that's at a holiday level, but now there's an emotional level. What happened to us as children a lot of times is, you've seen it, right? Like the kid's running along, falls, skins their knee, looks up. If there's no parent, they just keep playing. But if a parent saw, particularly if it's mommy, they look up and they go, and the tears come, and because they know they can get love from that. But part of that relationship very often is, as a parent, you want to do anything you can to end that pain. And you know what's very good about that? Ice cream, or chocolate chip cookies, or chocolate or something. And so we distract children with those things. And what we don't realize in that moment is that we are doing something expedient that's giving us a short-term benefit in that moment. But the child is making a neural connection. They're making a connection that this chocolate chip cookie is equal to love, and it's anesthetic in nature. It takes away my pain. And you wonder why now somebody's driving through, they go grocery shopping for the family in their 40s, and they buy a box of chocolate chip cookies and scarf them down in the car on their way home because they know their kids shouldn't eat this stuff. So they do it in secret in the car. Why are they doing that? Because somebody gave them a cookie as a painkiller when they were a kid. Right. So if we can spot those relationships, we can begin to create freedom.
This sounds like an impossible task. I'm sure you'll hear that a lot.
Yeah, but it is not impossible. I know that it isn't because we've done it for hundreds of thousands of people. Like it absolutely works. And let me give you another one that I think you'll love this. And it's so, okay. My little girl and I are walking through the forest in the Dominican Republic a couple months ago. We were rescuing snakes. We rescue snakes and take them into the wilderness sometimes. And as we're walking through the forest, we come to one section of the forest where there's wild cacao trees growing, and the cacao happens to be in season. Cacao is the fruit, of course, that we make chocolate from. But what most people don't know is that the cacao fruit is really edible. It's really nice. So you break open the cacao, and like most wild original fruits, the pit is most of it, and there's a small layer of sweet flesh around the outside. We've bred fruit differently now, but that's how most wild fruit is. So you crack it open, you pop it in your mouth, and you suck the flesh off and spit the seed out. And it is delicious. But of course, it causes a positive neurotransmitter response. Like, you reward yourself for finding those calories. Memory is stimulated by emotion. If you have a boring day, you don't remember it. Memory is stimulated by emotion. When you eat that stuff, you have an emotional response. It locks in a memory. 4 hours later, after we've rescued the snake, we've put the snake back in the wilderness, we're walking back through the forest, we walk into that section of the forest that looks absolutely the same as every other section of the forest. And my little girl goes, this is where the cacao is. Instantly. Why? Because she has a geosynchronous link on the emotional state that she achieved in that part of the forest. that has been a design of survival that's built into us. It's why when you have a very positive association to a restaurant, it's like in your head immediately. If somebody gets addicted to Starbucks, they give you directions around London according to Starbucks. Well, just pass that Starbucks and turn left at the next one, because we used to do that with fruit trees. So now think of it another way. Imagine that you're having a very, very bad day and it's just not gone well. And you go home and you got a tub of ice cream in there. And you eat that tub of ice cream or some of it, and you produce all the serotonin and dopamine. You're rewarding yourself for this incredible find, because in nature, finding that many calories was very difficult. Now your body rewinds and it looks for the strategy that led to the calorie win. And it turns out that the strategy that led to the calorie win was having a bad day. And very soon your nervous system will learn to create sadness, depression, anger, anxiety. It'll learn to create those states as the states that lead to the calorie payoff. And so rather than ice cream curing the problem, ice cream locks the problem in.
And that's a real thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And this just takes people spiraling down further.
Yeah, absolutely.
You mentioned Starbucks. I used to joke that Starbucks are just this franchise of drug dealers, you know, and I used to joke about the caffeine, but the sugar is probably more dangerous than the caffeine. And it's incredible. And they've just got people lining up. You can't buy, crack and heroin, but you can buy Starbucks everywhere. And again, you can pack a lot of sugar and calories into those drinks, and away you go.
Yeah, I mean, they've got bottles of flavored sugar. I mean, they call it hazelnut, whatever it is, hazelnut, but it's just, and they're just dumping it in there. And look, I'm not here to take away people's Starbucks. If you want to go have your Starbucks, go have it. But what I would say is it's what you do every day that's going to have an impact on your longevity and what the last 20 years of your life. It's not the one Starbucks. Look, I haven't had caffeine I haven't had coffee, say, for 35 years. Okay, that's not true. I had one coffee at Dave Asprey's house because he's a drug dealer. He's a friend of mine and he convinced me to have one during our podcast, right? But
how was it?
It was okay.
Okay.
But otherwise I haven't. But what's interesting about caffeine, I think caffeine's fabulous. I think it's fabulous if you're using it correctly. And what is it? Well, it's a drug that stimulates you. So the problem for most people is that they need the drug to be human. Whereas for me, I only use it maybe 2-3 times a year, 4 times a year. And I can tell you exactly when it happens. Is I was on Jordan Peterson's podcast a couple of months ago. I landed in Toronto, flew across the world, got there, jet lag, flying all over the place, woke up in the morning a little dehydrated from flight, slight headache, and feeling a little low energy. That's when I might have one. And that's when I might have it. I might go, okay, now I need one. And by the way, it turned out it was 800 meters away. So I put on my running shoes. I thought I may as well go for a bit of a run and end up at the Starbucks to pick up a chai tea. I won't drink coffee, but I was going to have a chai tea. By the time I ran the 800 meters, I no longer had a headache and I had all the energy I needed and I didn't buy it.
There you go. Boom. Yeah, it's fascinating, that link. Michael Pollan wrote a great book on caffeine. I think it's called Caffeine. And he talks about the history of it.
Yeah.
And I think he came off of caffeine while he was writing the book, and then he had a cup like 9 months later. And he talked about it, being like this crazy experience. But
it is. It's a trend. When I have one, I become like, it hits me hard.
I think it's interesting because most people would never assume that it's such a powerful drug and it's such a strong drug. And I think when you realize that these things all around you that you consume every day just to be normal, they're very powerful drugs, then maybe you should take a look at some of the sugar consumption. So Jim Rickards has just recorded a video that's not available to anyone in the public, and he's going to be talking about how this upcoming recession is going to be fast, it's going to be bloody, it's going to be nasty. But at the same time, he's going to show you how you can position yourself to profit from all of this chaos. Now, we've made this video only available to our viewers. Go to londonreal.tv/Jim. Watch that immediately. I can't say enough good things about Jim Rickards. He understands the global economic system better than any guest I've ever had on London Real. His predictions are almost uncannily true, and you can learn how to profit from his vision, from his expertise, and his understanding of economics. So go to londonreal.tv/Jim or click the link below. It's an excellent, excellent look on what's going to happen in the future and how you can position yourself to profit from that. Jim is one of the best in the business, one of my favorite guests on London Real, and he's very, very good at predicting the future and showing us all to profit from it. So click the link, and I hope you enjoy. I'm looking for partners, collaborators, colleagues who want to join forces with me around the globe and create real value, generational wealth, and financial freedom for everyone else around the world. Get involved in the cryptocurrency markets. Get involved in the NFT markets. This is your moment. Life all comes down to a few moments. Don't let this pass. Now it's not too late. Next year's going to be too late. Ultimately, this is about freedom. That's the way I see it. This is about giving power back to the people and enabling billions of people worldwide to use the financial markets to improve their lives and those of their friends and their families and their communities. Honestly, I think it's a violation of human rights not to allow people basic access to financial services. Because right now people are being kept in the dark, they're being robbed of education, and it's a travesty. And so I'm looking for people that want to join me and be a part of this solution. And that all happens inside the DeFi Academy. The gains my students are making are absolutely amazing. Double, triple digit gains in the first month alone. That's amazing. This will change your life. Now is the time to get involved. I'm gonna tell you exactly how my students in my academy made money in the last 30 days. I'm talking about real trading results. And let me just whet your appetite a little bit. Let me hit you with some numbers. I'm talking Brendan from New Zealand is up 68.77% on the month. Steve from Europe up 83%. Albert in Singapore up 169.9% on one single trade. I got Susan up 153% on her call options alone, also rocking 139% returns and 442% returns as well on individual trades. These are people that are changing their financial future in the last 30 days, but it's based on trading discipline.
I've graduated over 500 students from inside my academy from over 54 countries around the world. It's amazing. When it comes to crypto, DeFi, and blockchain, we love this space. We truly believe it's the future. This is down to our core. It's authentic to what we're doing, and everybody can tell through the camera because you can't make this stuff up.
If you're watching me now, wherever you are, I implore you, take 60 seconds right now and join my academy. Apply today. Now you've got a chance. Life all comes down to a few moments. What are you gonna do? What's the choice that you're going to make?